Hi, Booktube. Welcome back. If you came back. I don't know. Are you just checking it out now? Either way, this is the third thing I'm recording in a row because I have time now, so I'm going to get it done. And that works for me. I remember I said I wasn't going to get any more books. Now I remember I think I was lying. May was my birthday month, it was also my anniversary month, and several things happened that caused retail therapy. So let's just jump right on into what I picked up. I picked up actually I have all three of these now, but the first one I am currently reading. It's the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. These are the current. I don't like this cover. I wish I had the UK cover, but she's actually from Tacoma, which is really close to where I am. She's a local author. My husband and I decided we were going to do a buddy read of this trilogy, so I have Royal Assassin and Assassin's Quest, Book 2, Book 3, Book 1 I also picked up, but I am currently reading it. He really likes my husband really likes to read fantasy, and so we decided on a couple of books that I was kind of interested in the fantasy genre that we're both going to read together, and he's going to try and suffer through Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte because I want to do a reread of it. It's one of my favoriteest books of all time, and he bought me the gorgeous Penguin drop cap edition, so he's going to read it, and I'm going to read it. We're going to discuss it via email. Then I had a little bit of a run at the Goodwill. I picked up Flower Children by Maxine Swan. I liked the title, and so I peeked at the back, and it said, a spellbinding novel and stories about the progeny of Harvard-educated hippies growing up in a Pennsylvania farmhouse in the 70s and 80s. Pot grows in the garden, a swing hangs from the living room ceiling. The children ride ponies, dance naked in the rain, attend protests, and are never ever disciplined. But unbound freedom isn't always exhilarating. Swan evokes the wonders of childhood as well as the slings and arrows of coming of age with an almost hallucinatory precision. Her elegy for a lost moment in American culture reminds us that innocence never loses its power. So I had to pick it up. It's not very big. It's a little over 200 pages. I'm looking forward to it. I thought it looked like a really good summer read. And I didn't have this one. It's kind of jacked on the spine, but whatever. It's Love Medicine by Louise Erdrich. I really have to start reading the ones I picked up. I picked up like 5, and I need to read them. This is the new and expanded version, because I have Love Medicine, The Beat Queen, I read Tracks, Four Souls I've read. So, I'm going to get to that one. Let's face it, I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands. And Love Medicine is the stunning first novel of Louise Erdrich's Native American series. Love Medicine tells the story of two families, the Cashpaws and the Lamartines. Written in Erdrich's unique, poetic, powerful style, it is a multi-generational portrait of strong men and women caught in an unforgettable drama of anger, desire, and the healing power that is love medicine. So this is the first book with them. I've read 2 books with them so far, and I enjoyed it. We've got our giant family tree. At this point, I know who goes with who a little bit. So, there you have it. And then I also picked up We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver, which is such a weird name for a woman. I've never heard of that before. I've heard mixed reviews on Lionel Shriver. I wanted to check it out. I enjoyed the premise that it is about a school shooter and how the parents deal with it and deal with Kevin, the school shooter, and what occurs. So I'm looking forward to reading it. It's been on all the booktubes. Everybody's talked about it. I don't really think I need to go into it, and it was cheap, so there you have it. I got an ARC for the Lauras. It's on sale in August, so I'd like to read it before then. And it's from the critically acclaimed Bailey Prize nominated author Sarah Taylor. I didn't realize my mother was a person until I was 13 years old, and she pulled me out of bed, put me in the back of her car, and we left home, and my dad, with no explanation. I thought that Ma was all she was, and all she'd ever wanted to be. I was wrong. Road trips and mother-daughter issues? Sounds like something I want to read. I don't have any mother-daughter issues. Father-daughter issues I have out the whiz-waz, but mother-daughter issues intrigue me because we just don't have them. We're actually rather close, me and my mother. And as I've stated before, my husband is well on his way to populating my bookshelf with the Penguin Drop Cap books. So these are the next two. Frank is jumping. These are the next two in the order that he's buying them. Charles Dickens's Great Expectations. I'm hoping it's better than the other 4 Charles Dickens I had to read in university and absolutely hated. I'm not a fan of Dickens. He needs some editing, some serious editing. And I'm guessing that will happen with this. I'm just hoping I like it more. I've read David Copperfield. I've read The Christmas Carol, which was okay. Oliver Twist was okay. I don't know if I read Bleak House or not. I might have. So, there's that one. This is actually the only Dickens I'm kind of interested in reading. I think this is the one with Madame Defarge. And if it is, then that's good, because I like the fact that she's subterfuge knitter. And he also got me a copy of George Eliot's Middlemarch. As you can see, he's going through the alphabet. Now, I just finished Middlemarch, so I'm not going to be reading this one for a while. But I loved Middlemarch. Loved the snot out of it. So I like the idea that I'm going to have this gorgeous copy. Like, look at how pretty that is. My book of the month arrived, and I picked a back. I wanted this. It was $9.99, okay? You can't get it cheaper than this. And I like Zadie Smith. I've read a bunch of her, and I want to read more of her. I actually want to reread White Teeth because I loved it, and I want to see if I still love it. This is Swing Time. 2 brown girls dream of being dancers, but only one, Tracy, has talent. The other has ideas about rhythm and time, about black bodies and black music, what constitutes a tribe or makes a person truly free. It's a close but complicated childhood friendship that ends abruptly in their early 20s and never to be revisited, but never quite forgotten either. Zadie Smith. Can she do wrong? I don't think so. Maybe she can. Maybe this is the one. I don't know. But I figured for $9.99, may as well take a chance. And the book of the month I picked last month was The Leavers by Lisa Coe. I looked at everything, and this is the one I thought I would want to read the most. I didn't pick any this month. I almost picked White Fur, but I'm just not feeling it. I wasn't feeling any of the ones this month. I really wanted the extra Arundhati Roy, because I remember reading The God of Small Things in 1997 because my high school English teacher gave it to me and told me, you must read this. So I'm probably going to pick that one up. But back to The Leavers. This is the story of a young man. His mother is a illegal alien from China, I want to say. Yes. And she disappears, and this is his story in foster care and subsequently how he deals with stuff. It all takes place in New York. It should be highly interesting. I am looking forward to reading it. So far on my book of the month, I've read 1 of the ones I've gotten. So I'm glad I'm taking a rest this month because I've also ordered extras. Like I ordered Pachinko, even though that wasn't my pick. And I ordered Swing Time, even though that wasn't my pick. I haven't read Dead Letters yet. That's one, I think that was the first one I got. So I have to get going on those. So that's that stack. Now let's move into the other stack, shall we? Like I said, May, disaster. Okay. So these ones, I got a stack of Red Spines, which this is retail therapy. When my dog passed away, I ordered them all from Book Depository because it's dirt cheap, and they're all classics, and they're all Red Spines, and that's what I liked about them. So I got the Scarlet Letter. Everybody knows it's about adultery. I think, anyway. Esther Prynne is a beautiful young woman. She's also an outcast. In the eyes of her neighbor, she had committed an unforgivable sin. Everybody knows that her little daughter, Pearl, is the product of an illicit affair, but no one knows the identity of Pearl's father. Hester's refusal to name him brings more condemnation upon her, but she stands strong in the face of public scorn even when she's forced to wear the sign of her shame sewn into her clothes. A Scarlet Letter, A for adulteress. I picked up Revolutionary Road purely because a book Olive says it's awesome. Hailed as a masterpiece from its first publication, Revolutionary Road is the story of Frank and April Wheeler, a bright young couple who are bored by the banalities of suburban life and long to be extraordinary. With heartbreaking compassion and clarity, Richard Yates shows how Frank and April's decision to change their lives for better leads to betrayal and tragedy. Nick Hornby says it's easily the best novel he's read this year. And I love Nick Hornby, so that's even more oomphy. That one has a shiny cover. I picked up In the Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco because I've wanted to read this for quite some time. The year is 1327. Brother William of Baskerville arrives at a wealthy Italian abbey on theological business. When his delicate mission is overshadowed by 7 bizarre deaths, Brother William turns detective. He collects evidence, deciphers secret symbols, coded manuscripts, and digs into the eerie labyrinth of the abbey, where extraordinary things are happening under the cover of night. The spectacularly popular and critical success, The Name of the Rose, is not only a narrative of murder investigation, but an astonishing chronicle of the Middle Ages. Because, sometimes you just need a murder mystery. Moll Flanders by Daniel Defoe. I watched the movie. I really liked the movie. These are the fortunes and misfortunes of Moll Flanders. Born in Newgate Prison, 12 years a prostitute, 5 times a wife, once to her own brother, 12 years a thief, 8 years transported felon in His Majesty's colony of Virginia, Daniel Defoe's rollicking tale presents life in the prisons, alleyways, and underworlds of the 18th century London and gives us Moll, a scandalous, unscrupulous, and utterly irresistible. Sophie Carlson inspired me to pick up The Tin Drum by Günter Grass. On his 3rd birthday, Oscar decides to stop growing. Haunted by the deaths of his parents and wielding his tin drum, Oscar recounts the events of his extraordinary life, from the long nightmare of Nazi era to his anarchic adventures in post-war Germany. Sounds interesting. And lastly, of the Red Spines is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. I don't think I need to really read the back of this one. We all know Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde experiment. There's those. My husband tried to read and gave up on The Vor, so it has come into my possession. I'm going to try and read it. Steve recommended it highly. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. My husband did 100 pages and said it was just not his style. So we'll see where that goes. Then I picked up part 3 of Cheese Sweet Home because we always need cheesy manga around to make us happy. I picked up volumes 1, 2, and 3 of Princess Jellyfish, which is about a group of otaku girls who all live in one kind of apartment building, and subsequently they become friends with this dude who's a cross-dresser, so he doesn't have to become a governmental employee. It's really weird and messed up, and I love it, because it's a bunch of geeky girls. Gives you a hint. And I'm getting down to the last little stack. I picked up All the Light We Cannot See, yes, by Anthony Doerr. It finally came out in paperback, which is why I picked it up. I wanted to read it when it came out hardcover, so I'm hoping I get around to it relatively quickly. I don't know if I will, because you've seen the size of my 2 read piles. Lastly, I know you saw that I had Titus Grown, the first book of the Gormenghast trilogy, so I got the other 2 in the same format because I wanted all the formats to match. I intend to read those. I don't know if I can read them right now, though, because I need to read things that border on happy, shall we say. So that is everything I got in May. I am really slowing down because I don't think I've gotten anything in June, which is good. I read like 10 books in May. So far in June, I don't have a finish, so I need to pull back the reins. So that is our May 2017 birthday/book haul, and I hope you enjoyed. Do tell me if you've read any of these, or if you want them to jump to the front of the stacks, or if you have any strong feelings about anything. And yeah, I'll see you next month.